What is up, fantasy football fanatics? It's your man Jordan Reigns at 50 Shades of Drunk. If you found our YouTube channel, we appreciate it. Today we are going to be doing a best ball draft on Underdog Fantasy. And as per usual, it'll probably be a little bit on the contrarian side because we like to do things our own way over here. So again, if it's your first time, we appreciate that. Sub the channel, follow both the podcast feeds. And if you want to play Underdog Fantasy with us, you can head down to the link in the description. Like I said, we're just going to do this draft. I'm going to talk through kind of my strategy right now on players that I'm trying to put on my teams that I think are really going to help me win some money in Underdog Best Ball Fantasy this year. Underdog Fantasy is currently our newest partner with the channel. So if you go deposit for the first time, $10 to $100 the first time, they will deposit match bonus you. So whatever you put between 10 and 100, they'll match it. And you throw the channel a little kickback. You know what I mean? We do them a favor, you do us a favor, we all win. But if you are interested in a deal, we have a deal coming up. If you're listening to this in June, you will hear about it soon. Going to do a package where you can get all of our rankings, plus the best ball stuff, plus you get the sign match bonus for the first time deposit match to play and draft on Underdog Fantasy. So all that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into this draft. Not really going to touch on any fantasy football news, stuff like that. Might comment on it throughout. But for this draft, we're going to do the Poodle 2. They just dropped this draft on Underdog, or this lobby. I missed the whole Poodle 1. It filled up in like a day. So here's the Poodle 2. Or no, it's not. That's the big board. Sorry. So here is the Poodle 2 setup. The thing I like about this versus some of the other contests that they have on Underdog is that they have a max entry of 20. I like that. I like having other people be a little limited in what they can do. That kind of brings it down, the field down to people with a smaller bankroll kind of having an even shot. So let's go ahead and hop in here and let's get to drafting. All right. Looks like we are waiting for this lobby to fill. This lobby is nearly full now. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Dang, it filled up fast. Fantasy Flock is in here, my guy. What is up, Mason Dodd? Y'all know who that guy is. Everyone knows who Mason is. Shout out to him. Hate to be that guy, but I have to take your money, Mason. This should be a fun draft. Looks like it's a pretty, this is not a soft lobby. It doesn't look like. Got quite a few badges kicking around in here. Kicker lives matter. Dumb. Whatever. Draft starts in 10 seconds. We got the 107 spot. Been saying it a while, but I am not pro Travis Kelce in the first round. I think that's kind of I just don't think that's a good pick, personally. Not this year. Maybe last year, but you didn't have to take him in the first last year. I'll be skipping Bijan as well. I'll probably take Stephon Diggs or A.J. Brown. 23 seconds gone already. Yeah, we'll take A.J. Brown. 145 targets, y'all. All right, we're circling back around. I'm in the 107 spot in this draft. Jalen Waddle gets taken. I really like him in the second. Jonathan Taylor. Saquon. I don't think Flock's going to let me get Saquon, but if he will, that's who I'll take. I knew he wouldn't. He's sharp. Real sharp snow. All right, well, you know me. Panic mode already. No, not really. I'm going to take T. Higgins here. Don't have a lot of T. Higgins. Actually, I don't think I have any T. Higgins yet in this particular contest, Poodle 2. Have taken quite a bit of Deshaun Watson / Amari Cooper. I'm just going to do a little pivot here, get some T. Higgins. I really, really, really want a DK Metcalf there, but he got sniped right in front of me, so I went Deebo Samuel. Still think he has a lot of value here in the third round. So far, it's triple running back for me, or triple wide receiver, rather. The plan is to take Kenneth Walker here. Yes, I'm going to get him. Let's go, baby. Kenneth Walker, majorly undervalued this season. The signing of the running back, Charbonnet, whatever. He's the backup, you know what I'm saying? And people are acting like that's not what it is. So I'll take him. We are about to be back on the clock here. We are on the clock here. Who do we want? I think I'm going to stick with my game plan. I've been taking Deshaun Watson. I actually might wait a little bit here. Let's see what we have at running back. We have a tight end. Is Hawkinson still available? No, Hawkinson's gone. Brandon Ayuk, it is. Didn't want to take Brandon Ayuk there, honestly. I probably would have rather had maybe Pacheco here just to start adding to my running back core. But I'll be completely honest, though, on the screen I'm looking at, it says your pick, it stays green. And the clock goes red, so I was looking at the stay green part. So I kind of panicked. So it is what it is. Deshaun Watson may still be there when I come back around. I think he will, actually, even though the guys in this part of the draft don't have wide running quarterbacks yet. I don't think, because they're sharp, quote unquote, they're probably not going to take a running back here or quarterback here. I don't expect any of them to take quarterback here, which means I'll get Deshaun Watson, which is what I want, because I'm going to try to stack him with David Njoku and Donovan Peoples-Jones. Easy stack to complete in best ball right now. Dirt cheap. You can build all kinds of stuff around it. And it may end up being one of the better stacks of the year, just the Brown stack in general. Nailed it. Trevor Lawrence, only quarterback taken. I'm going for Deshaun Watson. Let's go. Now we will be targeting Donovan Peoples-Jones and David Njoku later in this draft. So we got to a point in the draft where there's a lot of junk kind of in the middle, 7, 8, 9, in my opinion. So I took another quarterback, not necessarily advocating that you do that or everybody do that. But for me, to secure another top 12 quarterback potentially, and Dak Prescott, who I believe easily is a top 12 quarterback, here in the 7th round, a place where there is definitely uncertainty littering the board, I just took a player that I know is going to hit my lineup some weeks. You know what I mean? It's not worth, in my opinion, the dart throws of like a Zay Flowers or Brandon Cooks, Michael Thomas. Like, these are the players that are on the board right now. To me, those players they don't provide anywhere near the upside, the security, or the consistency that I can get, and if I want to take upside and risk, I'll take that later, a few rounds from now. So, yeah, and everybody that went after that pick, not somebody I would have been taking anyway, anybody, except for maybe Kirk Cousins and Jahan Dotson. But I think Cousins only went here in the 7th because I added a little pressure by taking Dak, if I'm being real, because I don't think Cousins normally goes that high. Flock took Waller, good for him. So I'm looking at David Montgomery here pretty seriously, and taking David Njoku. I've also learned you kind of have to start reaching for David Njoku now. Gone are the days where you can just get him in like the late teens of these best ball drafts, early off season. So the team right now consists of Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott at quarterback, Kenneth Walker at running back, wide receiver, A.J. Brown, T. Higgins, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and David Njoku at tight end. So I'm happy with that as a start. That's a solid, I would be happy to run those guys out every week in redraft probably. Need to get that second quarter running back soon. But there are plenty of running backs that I still think have plenty of value, and represent multiple weeks that they'll crack my lineup potentially. In Brian Robinson, for example, Rashad Penny, for example, Antonio Gibson, Khalil Herbert. All three of those players I would love to have on my team as running back 2s and 3s. And I think I'm going to be able to get 2 of those guys. Looks like people are cooling a little on Anthony Richardson here, still available in the beginning of the 9th round. Don't know if that's normal or not. Haven't done enough, but it feels like people are taking other quarterbacks ahead of him that they maybe wouldn't have 2 or 3 weeks ago. Some may wonder, am I targeting Elijah Moore? Since I do have Deshaun Watson already, I think I'm going to stick with my Donovan Peoples-Jones move. That's kind of the guy I've been targeting. And Elijah Moore he's a little expensive here, at ADP 101. I can get Donovan Peoples-Jones, ADP 155. Donovan Peoples-Jones had 839 yards last season receiving from Jacoby Brissett and Deshaun Watson. And that's not nothing. And somebody takes Elijah Moore here who, has Elijah Moore even had an 800-yard season? I don't know. I don't really know a lot, but you can quote that. But I know that I would much rather have Donovan Peoples-Jones than Elijah Moore at ADP and just in general. So to be able to get him later, let somebody else mess with that. Oh, shit. You're talking all kinds of nonsense. You're an idiot. Give me Robinson. Draft him. Yes. Oh, whew. Talking crazy reckless. I barely got a pick off. And it was Brian Robinson. I'm not even going to lie to you. That's not exactly who I was dying to get there, but that was the first name I saw that I knew that I could stomach live with. That's that old volume coming back for you. Woo! Shake it off. Next thing with these, live drafts, real drafts, I call them. Slow drafts are junk. Slow drafts are for lames. For real. That's my opinion. Take that for what you will. I want to feel that rush of, oh shit, give me the real stuff. 6 picks away. I think I'm going to stay focused on running backs here because, again, there's no wide receivers here that I'm even remotely interested in. Odell Beckham, no. Al Lazard, no. Tyler Boyd, no. Jacoby Myers, no. Darnell Mooney, no. Sky Moore, no. Zay Jones, interested. Jonathan Mingo, yeah, maybe. Is a rookie. I don't know what his quarterback's going to do, so it's tough for me. Rashee Rice, could be interested. Michael Gallup's coming up, interested. KJ Osborne, Donovan Peoples-Jones. There's all kinds of guys later that I'm very interested in. There's a bunch of guys I'm not interested in at all right now in this part of the draft at wide receiver. So I'm going to key in on my running backs that I like here. I might just lock up the Washington backfield altogether. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take Antonio Gibson, just lock up the backfield. So I have my running back 1, Ken Walker. You can believe or not believe, I don't care. And my running back 2 is Brian Robinson / Antonio Gibson. We are up again in 11 picks. And when we come back, we may get that. We'll be in an interesting spot. We'll be able to take either a running back or a wide receiver kind of at our choosing. I would like to start getting back into the wide receiver mix a little bit here. We'll see how what the board presents us with going forward. I'm going to add a few players to my queue, but there's like Michael Gallup here, injury dip. I'm gonna buy the talent. I've seen Michael Gallup do it before. I've seen him do some crazy things. I'm in. And I got him here with Dak too. There's a nice little stack there. So this is kind of where we get into the contrarian part of the strategy here, where I have guys and teams and players that I believe and have seen put out very, very, very high fantasy football output, but I don't have to pay a very fantasy football premium price for them. I will say this team, compared to some of the other teams that I've been drafting using this kind of strategy, doesn't look quite as good. This is my first Ken Walker team in a while, especially as like a true RB1. So I'm not going to like brag about that, but as a general rule, I think there's a lot of winning upside to be had by targeting Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, Michael Gallup, Donovan Peoples-Jones, David Njoku, specifically. Those players specifically, especially at their current ADP and ranking and narrative cost. You don't have to build teams for those guys, but you can build a team and have those guys on it, and it can kind of be structured to where that could be like your main team if it needed to be. And if it had that kind of upside, and it does, it does, especially again at the cost. You're going to be able to put a lot of winning pieces around that core. And, from other upside teams, I think are going to be able to do a lot for you in the 2023 best ball and fantasy football season. Another contrarian strategy I took here is, locking up a particular backfield. I took the 1 and the 2, but on given weeks, both these guys have shown they can be running back 1s and in various ways. So to me, that if one of them doesn't have the running back 1 week, the other one will, theoretically, so that's almost awesome. If I can really pull that off, if they alternate in and out every week as a running back 1, potentially, even if it's a back end running back 1, that's very valuable to get here, in the 9th and 10th round. Flock is back on the clock, and then it's back to us. Donovan Peoples-Jones is probably going to just be my next pick, just because I want to be safe and just make sure that I get him, because we are getting to the area of the draft where people are going to reach for the guys that they really like. So we are on the clock. We are going to take Donovan Peoples-Jones, and we will finish off that sort of strategy right there. So now we've completed a stack for the Browns with Deshaun Watson, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and David Njoku. And we've got a mini stack with Dak Prescott and Michael Gallup. And we've also managed to put some high upside wide receivers on this team with A.J. Brown, T. Higgins, tied to elite quarterbacks and elite players in their own right, not stacked, and Deebo Samuel, a player who can do a lot with the ball in his hands and has a team that's going to continue to do what they've done, which is try to manufacture touches for their players and playmakers, which is Deebo Samuel and then Brandon Ayuk. You can say all the things I just said about Deebo Samuel, about him. He's just a different kind of wide receiver, but the same things apply because that's how San Francisco runs their offense. So again, if he can swap in and out, week out, kind of like, theoretically Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson at that running back 2 spot, to have Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk almost as a locked-in flex, a Kyle Shanahan wide receiver that he's handpicked and drafted as my locked-in flex. I don't care which one it is. It's best ball. I got them both. I like that strategy personally. So we're sitting on 3 running backs. We do have some options here. Oh, shit. We're on the clock. 17 seconds. I'm going to take Tank Bigsby here, and here's why. I was pretty much right about what I said about Travis Etienne. I mean, he is what he is. He's kind of like DeAndre Swift is what he is. They're great running backs. They have all the talent in the world, but given all the other factors, it's hard to confidently put them in a top dog kind of spot over a long period of time, like for fantasy football. Definitely will get their weeks and have their moments, but every team utilizes multiple backs too. Some teams are more inclined to actually split it, and some teams are more inclined to ride the hot hand or have a guy. And that's where I think that Tank Bigsby could end up, again, in a hot hand situation where if it isn't ETN popping off that week, you have some real upside here, I believe, with Tank Bigsby. Jaguars are trending up. And, for the Devy crowd out there, wasn't he like the running back 1 or 2 of his class up until last year, 2 years ago? That's a question, an earnest question. I knew he was pretty high. It seemed like he fell off here the last couple of years, and I don't adhere to that religion per se. But if anybody has any insights, oh my gosh, why is this thing doing this? Catch up to where we are. We are up in 1 pick. Should I stick with reliable Curtis Samuel, or should I step out into the Marvin Mims psychedelic wonderland? I think I want to get psychedelic with it. Unlimited. Calabunga, dude. Let's go, brah. Come on, Flock. Give him to me. Yeah, buddy. MVS. Interesting pick there. Actually, there was a really interesting pick there for my guy. I don't know. Ooh, Flock. Team looking a little rough, buddy, in my opinion. No, that wasn't Flock. That was some other guy. Okay. Who is that guy? The hockey. Okay, where's his team? Dang. Okay, he took Jalen. Where am I? What is going on here? Why is this not drifting with the draft? This is so frustrating. What is going on? So who did he even take? He took Donta Foreman. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why this thing is not staying centered on my screen. I'm looking at a different screen than y'all see. Do I just go ahead and take Brock Purdy / Trey Lance? Like, do I need to do that? Feels like it's almost something worth considering here, the way this team's built. This would be a very insulated sort of team, not a lot of outside upside, but if all these guys pretty much hit or do well, we're looking at some big swings here. We don't have to make that decision just yet, thankfully. They will be around for a while. I'm going to draft Mecole Hardman here. I've been drafting a lot of Mecole Hardman. I just want to get some exposure to the Jets offense with Aaron Rodgers. I know he likes to take shots. We all know Garrett Wilson's amazing. We know that. And that's wonderful. Aaron Rodgers still throws the ball to other people sometimes, Alan Lazard, not overly scary to me. Corey Davis, another guy that I'm checking out in the back ends of drafts right now, especially the last round of underdog drafts. Robert Saleh seems committed to him. And Tyler Conklin, a tight end, I'll probably try to grab here towards the end. I'm grabbing a lot of that. So that's kind of where I'm getting my exposure to the Jets offense. I'm not taking Garrett Wilson as high as he's going. Just not worth it to me. I'm not taking Breece Hall. Well, I haven't yet. Most of my drafts picks have been 105 is actually the highest I've had a pick in any of my drafts for the most recent drop of tournaments, shall we say, in the past week or two. So. And check out the link in the description. Use promo code IDP Army, all one word, all caps. They will do a deposit match bonus. You can play on Underdog with us. Real money, fantasy football drafts, fantasy football games, fantasy sports games. Good time. It's my turn to pick. I am just going to go ahead and throw Tyler Conklin on my team. Even though he is probably a little bit of a reach there, a little early. Because I'm drafting on my computer and not my phone. Don't have everything set up exactly like I usually love it, so I'm just going to stick with what I know right now. So that was the 16th pick for me. This is an 18-round draft, so we have 2 more picks. So these will be our last picks. let's try to make them, worthwhile picks. I try to stay away from safe picks this late. I want to find, upside. I want to find guys that are potentially going to upside to me means you crack my roster in best ball, and not just because my team's fallen apart and you're the only guy left, but because you're actually good enough to push up into meaningful production a handful of weeks in the season. 3+ weeks would be great at this point, and I think that's a big ask from some of these guys that given the positional scarcity. Like again, though, that's why it's interesting that Jimmy Garoppolo is still here. He's going to have some weeks he would be in your team in best ball. He's a starting quarterback with some weapons. Brock Purdy, but that's just people being a little scared of the uncertainty. I didn't draft around the idea of needing someone like that. So again, I'm going to look for some real potential upside here. Allen Robinson, a player I'm interested in. Corey Davis, another player I'm interested in here. I'm looking for players with past known production, have at certain points in their career been elite at one thing or another, or at least touted that way. And not just touted that way, because if I was believing that, I would also take maybe someone like Justin Ross, who has never done anything in the NFL and has similar ADP. Don't do that. So Corey Davis, Allen Robinson are on my queue here towards the end of this draft, just to let you all kind of have an idea of what I'm looking at here towards the end of this draft. Kareem Hunt still on the board. He will eventually sign somewhere. I like Isaiah Likely as a late round tight end sleeper. He had plenty of targets last year for a rookie tight end, and I think he could trend up. Jelani Woods, another late round tight end target I like as well. All right, let's finish this draft strong. Allen Robinson, will take him here in the 17th round. We'll see. He's had some big weeks, some big seasons in the past. He's had a decent career. He's been stuck with some crappy quarterbacks. He goes to the Rams, doesn't work out. I'm hesitant to say he's totally washed. And again, here at this point in the draft, if we could get an 800-yard season and like 4, 5, 6 touchdowns out of him, I think a guy like that, the way he would put those points up for you, he would probably crack your lineup 2 or 3 times, maybe potentially 3 times at the end of the season. So that's what I'm looking for here. Close out the draft with Corey Davis. We'll see how this team does. This is, I think, my 8th, 9th, maybe 10th team to draft in the Poodle using this kind of alternative strategy where I do focus on the Browns and Cowboys players and a few auxiliary players as well. So, like I said, join me on Underdog, link in the description, promo code IDP Army. We are always doing awesome fantasy football stuff around here. Dynasty, best ball, IDP, interdisciplinary fantasy football. We do it all, and it informs how we play the game. It informs how we play the game in all of them. So thank you for being here. And until next time, IDP Army, Dynasty Defenders, best ball, fantasy football fanatics, that is going to be it from me to you.